His role only. What's in on your sides, Andy Fox?
Property. John Lawson's name is the only name on the LLC, and this is where the casino hotel would go. Over here, a conference center. Over here, and then over here, we had the marina, probably the improvements made by the developer, and of course, we have waterfront property here. John Lawson says this property is perfect for a casino.
It needed to be a destination location. And it's a great location as far as the view of downtown Norfolk and up the Elizabeth River, but it's not that easy to get to.
That's what W.M. Jordan's John Lawson thought of this 6-acre site. Perfect waterfront, but not a lot of room.
You don't just drive by there. It has to be a destination. And when the idea of a casino came up, that really was a perfect fit for that site.
That was 6 months ago, and today legislation under consideration for a casino in Norfolk. Lawson doesn't think, though, that you can build both.
I don't think the market's deep enough for
across the river that squeezes what you're going to bring in, and perhaps you walk away from it if that's going to be the case.
Determine that.
Determine that. Peace. 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 Determine that.
Economic stimulus there.
All right, amazing. My fucking audio feed decides it wanted to go out, but nonetheless, I want to talk about this proposed casino they got going on in downtown Portsmouth. Good evening, y'all. Chris One Radio Group, 7 Cities Radio. Glad you guys can be here. You guys can be anywhere else in the world. I see I got individuals on the board. Danny, I see you. Appreciate you for being here this night. Mark T, thank you for being here tonight, sir. All right, so I want to talk about this casino. Well, I want to talk about this casino because I want to talk about what this casino means, what it doesn't mean, how it's going to affect the people, how it's going to affect the businesses, how it's not going to affect the businesses, how it's not going to affect the people, et cetera, et cetera. I got a friend of mine that has a business downtown Portsmouth, and I'm going to tell you what problems he ran into, which brought this attention to me, Chris One, over here at 7 Cities Radio. It just, when I tell you, it just bugs me out how as soon as I start the broadcast and everything wants to start going off. But nonetheless, so a casino is being proposed for downtown Portsmouth. Now, I'm going to tell you something about the 7 Cities area. I am from up north. And what I've noticed about the Seven Cities area is what what people um what people don't understand when it comes to a municipality is that it's business. It's business, y'all. It's nothing more than business. Let me explain. I'm from up north, and where I'm from, waterfront property is prime. Down here in Virginia, waterfront property is used for boats, the military, the Navy. The reason why this doesn't happen up north is not that it doesn't happen here, but up north, it's colder. And the rivers, they freeze up a little different than they do here in Virginia. I mean, they do have ports up north, but it's not like down here in Virginia where it's warmer. The water doesn't freeze up. They don't have those dramatic changes in the temperature in the water. So because of that, they use their ports, their waterfront for different things. Up north, we use it more for recreation than anything. There is more beach, there's more waterfront property up north used for water than it's used for anything else. I'm sorry, for recreation than anything else. So when I moved down here to Virginia, I was a bit surprised at how the the people had so much had access to the water. For crying out loud in Newport News, there's public housing right at the water. This will not happen. This will not be the case had this been, up north. As I stated to you guys one time, I went to Chicago and there was a housing project that they had just condemned and was going to turn it into condos. And this sat on the water, excuse me. This house, a building, sat on the water. But prior to that, it was used as housing projects. So, with that being said, what exactly does Portsmouth have in store now that they are proposing a casino, which is recreation? Right now, at the water in downtown Portsmouth, you have a couple of hotels and you have the ferry that will ferry you from Norfolk to Portsmouth and vice versa. So, what's going to happen when they bring this casino? Well, there's normally a backlash when something is done to improve the neighborhood. There's normally a backlash involved. And that backlash is normally, it's called city development, excuse me, urban city development. What is urban city development? Urban city development is when the city reclaims its property. Urban city development is when the city come along and say, hey, listen, we got something else going on. We want to take this city into another direction and start reclaiming all that it has. You got to understand something. It's the reason why you get licensed to be in business. You get licensed to be in business so that the city can maintain control. Also, the city can maintain control over its businesses. If they want to put you out of business, they simply don't renew your license. But why is this, you would say, if the city, in fact, give you a license for business, and then you turn around, and then the city, that is, turn around and then don't give you a license to, in fact, be in business? This happens when the city wants its property back. And when this happens, there, in fact, is a bigger plan other than the rinky-dink mom and pop shops that you got in there downtown. If I can give you an example. I am from up north. I remember as a kid going to New York City in the 70s, and 42nd Street was ghetto's strip. That's what 42nd Street was. 42nd Street was Skid's Row for crime. Here's what I mean. In the 70s, what was going on 42nd Street was prostitution, a whole bunch of peep show spots, come and get a massage. You seen pimps. You seen whores, drug deals, gangs. That's what you seen on 42nd Street. And then what happened? That all changed. And when that changed, different businesses started to pop up. So the 42nd Street that you see today, in fact, is not the same 42nd Street that existed in the 70s. It was a prime strip of property, and the city wanted to reclaim it. So I have a friend of mine who has a business downtown Portsmouth. And he brought a building. In addition to buying a building, he purchased the property behind his building, took the fence down that was separating the two properties, and now he has that entire fence, that entire property. He made it one. Well, he went to go and he wanted to put a building on this property. So he went and purchased the building. Now, let me make sure I understand. He brought one of those buildings that you put together, one of those fabricated buildings. He brought one of those buildings, one of those steel buildings. And then he purchased the building. Then they come and they assemble the building on the property. Well, he purchased the building. And then after he purchased the building, the individuals that was going to assemble the building for him, they went to the city to purchase a permit, only to have been told you cannot put anything on that property. In addition to that, they now giving him the eyebrow, raise the eyebrow. How exactly did you purchase this property in the first place? So what's going on? What is happening in downtown Portsmouth? The city is reclaiming its property. They're reclaiming their property. They got big plans for Portsmouth. The same thing happened in Newark, New Jersey. They did urban city development. Before, you used to go downtown Newark, New Jersey. And the first thing they did was they decorated the surrounding streets with townhomes and totally changed the landscape and layout of the neighborhood. And then what happened is the change started. And when the change took place, now these individuals are not, or should I say in Newark, things changed so much. A lot of those stories were not able to renew, their business licenses. My man Danny asked a question. My man Danny said, how could buying hurt businesses? Isn't that what they're in business for? I'm sorry. That's Dawn. I'm sorry. Danny Jim. Danny says, how could buying a business hurt businesses? Isn't that what they're in business for? How could buying hurt businesses? Well, I'm going to take what you said and I'm going to try to interpret it like this. Once again, what you got to understand is the city has a different agenda as of right now. And what the city plans on doing is the city has bigger plans. So what the city isn't doing is the city is saying, look, we are waterfront property. This is what happens when, let me just say this. If you talk about the 7 cities, if you talk about the seven cities, right? I'm gonna write them down because I want to make sure I can say them every time I bring them up. Okay. You talk about the 7 cities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suffolk. And Portsmouth itself. All right. So if I talk about the 7 cities right now. So we got Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk, Suffolk, Virginia Beach, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry. Chesapeake. All right, so let me say that again. So if we talk about the 7 cities, we got Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk, Suffolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, and Chesapeake. So when it comes to Chesapeake, I'm going to give them an arrows up, upscale. All right. If we talk about Portsmouth, they're not upscale. I'm going to give them an arrows down. If we talk about Virginia Beach, with all the upscaling and stuff that they did, and they've been in the game for a long time now, Virginia Beach, upscale. Chesapeake, Suffolk is upscale. Norfolk is, they can go either way. Newport News, they're on the rise. So I got to go give them an arrows up. And Hampton, they're up because Hampton is, there's a lot of nice stuff in Hampton. So out of the 7 cities, Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk, Suffolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, and Chesapeake, Portsmouth is the only city that has the definite thumbs down. The only one. So what does that mean? That means they're the perfect target for urban development. And that's what they're going through. They did not allow my friend to build his building because when it's time to buy him out, they would have to give him more money. Dawn Oliver says, I don't think that's a good idea for the people. Dawn, you have a government, and the government logic is they'll tell you what's good for yourself. They are not interested in your opinion. And so Mark T says, well, what was the voting for? The voting was to give you, the people, the facade that they in fact gave 2 cents about what you was saying. They really don't care. They do not care. They don't. They had the voting, and then it was, well, we're going to have this voting thing and we're going to make these people think, when in fact they really don't care. That's what the idea is. Fact of the matter is, this whole thing is for the people. This is for the people. The government, I'm sorry. This is the government's idea of getting the town the way they want it to be, not about the people. It's about the bottom line. The city is a company. The city is a corporation. And that city is saying, this is what we're going to do. We don't care about you. It's going to create revenue for the city. And that is what cities ultimately need. Cities need businesses because they can't rely on the people. They can't rely on the people. The city can't rely on the people to be the type of people. The cities can't rely on the people to be payers. They can't rely on the people to make sure they reach their quotas, et cetera, et cetera. When Dawn said, I don't think this is good for the people, they really don't care because their bottom line is revenue. And they're going to attract something that's going to attract a lot of people. There are people that leave this area to go to Delaware, Dover, Delaware. Well, you won't have to go to Dover, Delaware no more. There are bus rides that goes all the way up to Delaware. Well, you won't have to do that anymore. That'd be a thing of the past. Gambling is something that people want to do. Like it or not, this is what they're going to do. They're going to build this casino. Whether it comes sooner or later, it's coming. It is. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I don't. I don't blame them at all. I don't blame them a little bit. I don't. When we talk about a city and the city, they're not stupid. They see what's coming. A lot of these municipalities, they have their citizens that are on certain government programs, such as welfare, Section 8. They see the writing on the wall. They see that the government will no longer subsidize and the government will no longer give them monies for the hundreds of people that they have on the system, or if not thousands. Everybody sees the writing. Every municipality sees the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall is you have your moment. You have your moment and your time to bring your municipality into the black. It's up to you to get your municipality out of the red. It's up to you as the governor. It's up to you as the city council. It's up to you guys to say, we're going to keep our city on the map. And if that municipality has turned into a place where there are nothing but individuals that are on that are using them for government assistance and using them to live, there's going to have to be a change. Because what can't happen is that municipality just simply say, we'll keep paying, because eventually we'll go bankrupt. I want to thank you guys for joining me for this edition of 7 Cities Radio, the Chris One Radio Network. I will catch you guys on the next one. Good night.